just, you know, there's just an element of let's get going. Let's try to find our first win, trying to zoom in on the areas that we think can achieve that. And, you know, it's great to have Joel back. We had a good, candid conversation about tape, you know, what we saw from the Toronto game, and ready to get going.
What are some of the things what did you see from the Toronto game?
I think a lack of discipline on being lifted off up fakes. We fouled too much. You know, I thought we did that against the Celtics. We fouled 4 3-point shooters. We put DeRozan to the line 16 times. You know, we have to have a far greater discipline to that. I was telling Mark, you know, like we're going overboard. It's easy to talk about turnovers. We get granular on split-step travels. You know, there's some sloppy categories, but by and large, we're really looking at their feet, trying to coach the fundamentals of people catching the ball. And, you know, do you lift pivot foots and split-step travels? I think that there was a pick and roll situation that I didn't think we handled well in relation to the weak side, people pulling over and showing more of a crowd, specifically those three things: fouling, travel, and pulling the eye over.
It's crazy when you think about it. Like, this is going to be Joel's first time going up against the Pistons.
Wow,
you know,
I didn't know that.
You didn't even know that.
No,
yeah,
no.
because you know, I looked because I wanted to see, you know, how did he fare against Drummond in the past, and then you realize they didn't play each other when you went back there. I mean, just talk about that matchup.
I mean, you get two big men and two mobile big men, and you know you're going to see athletes that have size tonight. Like Drummond is amazing to me running the floor. He historically has been one of the hardest people to box out. He is a committed rim runner. He is a committed offensive rebounder. And it looks like he's improved his free throw, you know, in the preseason and in the regular season. I think he's 6 for 6. And so, you know, the tactic of Hacker Drummond is still something that you think about, but it looks like, you know, he's really spent time, and good for him on that. That's going to be a great matchup with two big men that are very mobile, very physical.
Let me ask you this, and I know that when you first came here, you always wanted to build a culture where guys go out together and spend time together. And it just seems like now, I don't know if they did it in the past, but it just seems like they're taking it upon themselves. On the road, let's get together and have a meal.
I mean, the team is close, and we have sort of crafted a team that are really good people that coexist just fine. It's a candid group. They let us coach them, and they coexist. They get along well. I think it does help, you know, the youth in some ways of the group. Then you get the veterans that, you know, leave their families behind, and they understand we're looking from them to try to help build, that type of team chemistry and culture. And this group is excellent. It's as good a group as we've had doing that.
Let me just, is this the norm? I mean, I know when you're at home, it's hard with veteran squads because of families. But is this something normal that happens on the road?
You hope it does.
Okay.
You know, every team is different. And I think it matters. I think that it all adds up. I think it especially matters, you know, when you're trying to find your first win, trying to keep us together and have those veteran voices. But it's certainly something that we're mindful of and talk about and promote. You know, I think the culture that we've established reflects that thing you're talking about all over the place, but it sure helps when you have the people to deliver like we do this year.
You know, and just not talk about coaching, talking about Phoenix Suns. I mean, is it hard to see somebody in the fraternity, so to speak, lose their job, especially when it was a team where they were tanking for 2 years? And then you come out, we still have a young squad, and the next thing you know,
I mean, it's part of our profession. It's never something obviously you want to see, and you know, I think Earl's an excellent coach, and sometimes it just doesn't work. And I'm sure he'll bounce back. I think his playing history and how he played, everybody understands how competitive he was. And, you know, sometimes situations just don't mesh.
You know that before the Toronto game, you were sitting down on the court with Markel and Ben. What have you learned about what's been effective methods of teaching the two of them early on in their career? What tactics you use to try and educate them?
I mean, just very clear communication and frequent clear communication. I still like visual stuff, video stuff as much as anything. I think that it eliminates any ambiguity or uncertainty about my own words. And I would just like, staying with them, like helping them get through this and teaching them what we know. We've been around for a while, and demanding, like this is what we're looking for.